So your boat's gel coat's looking dull and oxidized? I'm going to show you how to fix that. Welcome to the Sport Fishing Boats channel. I'm Brian Apple if you don't know me already. Today we are talking about getting the oxidation off your boat and getting it polished back up and looking as close to new again as we can. First, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead and do that because I have some more videos coming out behind these, and that way you'll get notifications when those come out. And if you have any questions about this, to leave a question for me, all you have to do is scroll down to the comments section and leave your question there and I can get back to you. Now let's get into this. Now, everything I mentioned here today, there will be links down in the description, so you don't need to write anything down. Now the first thing we're going to do, to give you a quick overview, we're going to do this in 3 steps. The first step, we're going to use a compound. That's going to get the oxidation off the boat and get it glossy. Our second step, we're going to take a polish and that'll get that last little bit of gloss that the compound didn't get, and then finally we'll wax. So with our first step, and I'm using Presta Supercut, it's just, after trying a lot of them, this is my favorite one. We're going to take that and a heavy cut wool pad. We don't want to use foam or like a synthetic pad or something like that in this step. We actually need a pad that's going to cut. And the pads make all the difference. I'm using Presta pads here, but whatever you do, make sure you're using a quality pad. An inexpensive pad off of eBay is just going to destroy your shoulders. The pads make a huge difference. So we're going to take our pad. Once we've got it on here, we're going to apply some compound and we're going to start buffing the boat. That's going to get, like I said, the oxidation off the boat, and it will get it looking pretty glossy. But it's not as glossy as it can be. But once we've compounded the boat, we need to check for something. We've got the oxidation off, and you can get fooled here in this step. And this is a key thing to know. As we're looking at the boat, let's just say the side of the boat is right here. The hull's right here, we've been working on the hull. If we look at it down at an angle, it might look very glossy. And that's good. But the gloss that we really want is if we're standing directly perpendicular to the boat, we want to see the image being reflected directly back to us. And the reason that's so important is, if we're not seeing an image being reflected directly back at us, when the sun hits the gel coat at the most perpendicular point, it's not being reflected back. And that means the gel coat's actually absorbing it. And this leads to the gel coat losing its gloss and beginning to oxidize much faster. So if we don't have that image, what we want to do is go back with our compound again, do just a test spot, work that area again, and see if you actually can get it to that level of gloss before we go on. Now that we've compounded the boat, it's looking glossy, we've got the image the way we want to with some direct gloss, it's now time to polish the boat. And this is a key step that we don't want to skip. So we're going to take some polish. I use Presta's Chroma. We'll apply some to a pad and then start polishing the boat. And again, what we're looking for here is to accomplish 2 things. One, we're going to get our swirl marks out that happen when we're compounding, and we want to get that last little bit of gloss. And this is much more subtle. When you're doing the compounding, you're seeing a big change. With the polishing, the boat's already glossy. It's a subtle difference, but it's a very important one, especially when we go forward and want to maintain the boat. So now we've got her all polished up. She looks great. Now is the time we want to wax, and we don't want to wax before we get to that. And I almost don't want to de-emphasize the wax. The wax is by far the least important thing of these 3 steps you will do. You could do a great job of compounding this boat, a great job of polishing it. Go to Walmart, find the cheapest wax you can, and do a horrible job of putting it on, and you'd still get pretty good results. But by the other way, if you don't do a good job with these 2 steps, you can use the best wax or sealant or whatever it is that there ever was and put it on twice and not get very good results. And I have learned this the hard way. Focus your time here and here, and the waxes are less important, just know that. But I will show you what I do use. I like Farleca's polymer wax. The great advantage of this wax, and it's a nice wax, is you can put it down between really any temperature. Above freezing and below 100, it seems to have no problems going down. And that is a very nice thing when you're working on a boat because unlike a car, we can't just move it into the shade most of the time. Now another wax that really is my favorite, but I don't get to use it very much, is Colonite's paste wax. This is a great wax, looks great, holds up really well. The thing about this particular wax is, though, you really need temperatures between about 60 and 80 degrees and in the shade. And that's not very easy to come by with a boat. So unfortunately, I don't get to use it as much as I would like, but it is a really good product and I do recommend it. So now we've done all that work. The question is, how do we keep the boat looking glossy and perfect going forward and so it doesn't oxidize again? Well, I've got a video for you right here for that. And also, if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get the notifications. And any questions or comments, like I said, all you have to do to reach me is go down to the comments, leave any questions you have for me, and tell me where in the world you're watching this video from. I'm always curious.